You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Friday May 15th, TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday. It's been a fun week here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. The weekend is nearly upon us. Thank you for spending your Friday morning with us. We do appreciate it. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for doing that. Keep doing that. Be interactive, talk on the chat, all of those kind of things as we get ready for the weekend. And make sure you're subscribed. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP. That helps us out a ton. And it's been a great run. It's been a fun week. We'll talk all about that in a second, and then get you ready for a really fun Friday before we get out the door here and enjoy the beautiful weather right here in the Quad Cities or wherever you may be. Also, we are live on X. X has been very, very good to us as well. So we appreciate everybody who watches the show on X. We are available on all the podcasting platforms as well. So if you don't want to look at me, I don't blame you. I don't want to look at me either. So head to the podcasting platforms, anywhere you get it. Podbean, iHeart, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your your podcasts. Put in Off Day with Matt Randazzo, and you can listen to the show each and every day. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that every day. We appreciate you if you're one of those people that listen to the show every day as well. Thank you for doing that. And also, we are streaming on the WHO app in the central Iowa area. So we appreciate you guys as well as we wrap up a busy week here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. And it's been, needless to say, a fun week here on the show. I've talked in recent weeks that sometimes May is tough. May into June slows down. I mean, football season's football season. March Madness is March Madness. The transfer portal is awesome. There's a lot of things going on in the world of sports at all times. Sometimes May and June gets a little slower before you head into the John Deere Classic in July. Probably take a little time off in July, and then boom, you're into August. Football season's rolling, and off we go with all of that. That has not been the case this week here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo, and extremely proud of it as well. We started our week off on Monday talking with Jeff Linder and Maddie Heritzich from the Cedar Rapids Gazette about Iowa athletics, about a really good cause they have going on. Some other also on Monday was Pat Rangel as well. Tuesday we had Zach Johnson on the show. Not too bad. Zach Johnson, Scott Morrell, others as well. Great show on Tuesday. Wednesday, we had Andrew Lehman was on the show. Matt Weitzel was on the show. New Pleasant Valley head coach Brett Algren was on the show as well. FCA Story of the Week. Wednesday was awesome. How about this for yesterday? If you missed yesterday's show, take a second and go back and watch. And if you're an Iowa fan, awesome. We got something for you. Illinois fan, we got something for you as well. We took the Elite Eight. We brought it to the show. Brad Underwood on the show yesterday live, spending over 20 minutes with us, talking about teeing it up at the John Deere Classic and the program coming up, but then talking a ton of basketball, including Iowa fans, his thoughts on Iowa and Ben McCullum and what they're doing as well. Also, with that being said, after Brad Underwood was Tate Sage. Great conversation with Tate Sage. I think you're going to see... And he had a great freshman year. I think you're going to see an amazing sophomore year from that young man. I think he handles it more than people think. I think he's used to having the ball in his hands, which obviously with Bennett Sturts being on the team left this past season, Tate nor too many other people have the ball in their hands a lot. So I think he's going to have a fantastic season and career at Iowa. Those two on the show yesterday alone. So if you missed that show, go back and check out Off Day with Matt Randazzo. We're sitting here this week with PGA legend, JDC legend, Zach Johnson, Illinois' Brad Underwood, and Tate Sage, then a ton of new coaches in the Quad Cities and more. So really excited, really about the shows that we had this week. If you missed them, as I said, go back and check them out. Well worth the watch or listen, however you want to partake in the show. Wednesday, I should say, Iowa added a few new women's basketball players. Normally, the next day we would have jumped on and had Kyle on the show. We're going to have him on today in a matter of moments. He's going to join us from Des Moines. He's covering the Iowa baseball team in Des Moines. They won last night over Purdue in thrilling fashion, coming back after down 5-0 to beat Purdue 10-7 at Principal Park in Des Moines. So he'll join us to talk baseball and then all about that women's recruitment recruiting the 2 new players. One of them right down the road from Knox College as well, and Bria Medina. So a lot to get to with Kyle Huesmann coming up in a matter of moments. The Bears schedule's out. We'll look at it here in a second. Later in the show, Bobby Metcalf will join us to, we're going to go through the schedule. We're going to tell you the final record, where I have them, where they have, where Bobby has them. Bobby, the Bear homer, probably has them a little better than myself. That's why I'm wearing the Lions hoodie today, is the NFL schedule's out. I knew we were talking Bears, so I figured it was cold upstairs here in my loft. I'm going to toss the Lions hoodie on, probably for one last time till football season, because the summers are coming. You'll notice when you watch the show, during the winter, I'm wearing hooded sweatshirts and those kind of things because it gets cold up here. When the loft is basically the extra room above the garage. Let's not get carried away. Don't listen to anger and all that kind of stuff. It's a room. It's a room above the garage is all it is. I took it over from the kids when I made the switch to doing this show. And then during the summer, yes, the air conditioning's kind of up here, but it's not. So it gets hot up here. So I'll go from freezing to sweat my butt off here probably in the very near future. So with that being said, we're going to get the Bears schedule, talk a lot of Bears stuff, NFL stuff with Bobby Metcalf coming up later in the show as well. And then also we'll look back at the week, talk about a few things that happened on the show, some fun guests and quotes and all those kind of things if we have time. Fridays, just they get away from me. A late start. I got a little bit of a late start because of other things going on. So a lot to get to on today's show as well. We mentioned Brad Underwood being on the show yesterday. In the afternoon, he signed a contract extension with the University of Illinois. Much deserved. I'm sure there's a pay raise, all of those kind of things as well, because he's doing a fantastic job getting them to the Final Four. We talked about his roots and a lot of years at Western Illinois and Macomb. So and he knew then what Illinois basketball has been, how special it can be, and to get them back to the Final Four, a well-deserved contract extension for Brad Underwood. So again, go back, check out that interview from yesterday as well. The Bears schedule is officially out. We will go through this schedule later with Bobby Metcalf, do wins and losses and all those kind of things. But let's take a look at the headlines, if you will. They open on the road at Carolina. I think a tougher game than what I think Bears fans think when they see the schedule. And I get it. Carolina has been so bad of late, but they did win that bad division last year. They played well down the stretch. They didn't beat, but they came close to beating the Rams late in the season. I think it's an improving franchise. It'll be a difficult schedule to start with at a road game. Other notes, because I don't want to get into everything. We'll do that later, but obviously you can see we mentioned it. It'll be Thanksgiving at Detroit. How about a Friday game on Christmas at home against the Bears? And you look at the last three. They get the Packers at home, the Lions at home, and then on the road at Minnesota. If you want one of those on the road, it's probably Minnesota. I mean, who knows how this thing shakes out, but if there's going to be a team that's not going to be very good, maybe it's the Vikings with their quarterback situation, although Kyler Murray is there. So I think the finish is interesting. And then you can look on the side there, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. You go on and on. There's plenty of primetime standalone games for the Bears. The Bears are relevant regardless. They're Chicago. They're a huge market team. They've got great fan base around the country. Almost said great tradition, but the Bears Super Bowl win is a long, long time ago, but I digress. So that's kind of the Bears schedule in a nutshell. I know people who watch this that love the Bears that hate me because I hate the Bears. Bobby will be here to balance things out here in a little bit, but interesting schedule for a Bears team that has high expectations, and rightfully so, after winning the NFC North last year in their first year with Ben Johnson as well. So we'll talk much more Bears schedule coming on in just a little bit with Bobby Metcalf later in the show, and a whole bunch more. A quick reminder, I do this usually later in the show, but I want to remind people early on, the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing is 5 weeks from tomorrow. We still have some openings, a few teams available. Go to GuyRandazzoGolf.com. You will not be disappointed. Great day of golf. June 20th, Highland Springs Golf Course. Great golf course, great food from Snoop, plenty of familiar faces. I promise you that you'll have a great time. So go to GuyRandazzoGolf.com, get your team signed up. I believe we have maybe 2 or 3, 4 teams maybe available. So get on there, get that filled up for us, and we'll be talking a lot about that later in the upcoming weeks as well. I believe we're going to get Pat Angry. We're going to give him a lot of time off. We'll have him on the sometime next week to talk a little football and then talk a little bit about the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing as well. So a busy week. Wraps up today with first we're going to start with the Iowa basketball team, the Iowa women's basketball team. They added 2 more pieces. They're at 11, and we got to break all of that fun stuff down right now. So joining us now after several weeks off, our good friend Kyle Huesmann from Des Moines, as he watched the Iowa base team knock off Purdue last night. It's been a while, buddy. I miss you.
Has it really been? I don't think it's been a few weeks. It's
I
been
haven't
like
had
what?
Kakert on in this will be the 3rd straight week I haven't had Kakert on.
Wow.
Yeah, ratings
it's been a
have
little bit.
skyrocketed, Kyle. Ratings skyrocketed without Kakert, but they miss you. How is everything?
Good. I mean, the baseball season's starting to wrap up. As you said, I'm out here in Des Moines. I'm not going to be back home for a little bit here because I'll be going straight to Omaha after this weekend. After Iowa wraps up against Purdue, and then I'll be out to Omaha for the Big Ten tournament, and hopefully that lasts more than a couple of days. And but yeah, so I'm on the road right now for the time being.
It's normally and Wednesday was really busy when it came to women's basketball, and it would have been like, okay, Kyle, I need you. For some reason, Brad Underwood and Tate Sage trumped you yesterday, which is awful. But I got to get caught up with you because I know that, and especially Iowa women's basketball, people have been wondering about this roster, fretting about this roster. I think people have realized. We had Jeff Linder on the show on Monday, and he kind of mentioned that like there's 2 players they feel close with, and they'll probably finish that out. That's what happened on Monday. I guess we'll start with the transfer from Knox College right here in the Quad Cities' own backyard down in Galesburg. Really good score. Your thoughts on Bria Medina and what she brings to Iowa basketball next year?
Yeah, first off, I mean, it's just a crazy story. I mean, I got a chance to talk with her on the phone yesterday. Once I get off the show here, I'm going to be writing an article up on kind of what we talked about, but it's a crazy story for her. She plays at South Point Catholic in Tucson, Arizona. And she was telling me she was like a 10-point per game scorer as a senior. Didn't really know if she wanted to play college basketball. Wasn't planning on playing college basketball. Was just going to go to Arizona for school. And 2 of her cousins played for Knox College up in Galesburg and said, hey, you should come play college basketball. Just come do it. She committed to Knox College, ended up decommitting, was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then decided, okay, I am going to do it. Goes to Knox College. And then in 3 years, she's the leading scorer in program history and was, I think, 4th or 5th in the scoring and in all of NCAA basketball, D1, D2, D3. Averaged 23.6 points per game, had a 40-point game against Illinois College, I believe. So, yeah, she makes the decision to play college basketball and was pretty good at it at the D3 level. And then enters the portal, and then now here she is at Iowa. The funny story about how not necessarily how she gets to Iowa, she was being recruited a little bit by Fairleigh Dickinson, who Iowa played in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and they're trying to sell her on their program, and they said, hey, watch our game against Iowa in the NCAA tournament. And she watches the game against Iowa in the NCAA tournament, and she goes, as I'm watching, like, how cool would it be to play at Iowa with like those fans and everything? And she had emailed Iowa, just kind of a handful of schools she emailed just to see, what, shot in the dark, does it happen? Do they reach back out? And Randy Henderson reaches out right after she's watching this game, this Iowa FDU game. And it kind of goes from there, and Iowa was interested in her. And now here she goes from almost not playing college basketball to D3, and now she's going to be in the Big Ten playing at Iowa. So pretty easy story. It'll be interesting to see what she ends up having for a role. I know she talked about, the coaching staff really wanted to bring in another true point guard to mostly be kind of a practice person to make sure they have 2 true point guards with Chit Chat and with Bria. But I mean, you come in and there's no expectation. There's no, we need you to start. We need you to play this many minutes. It's, hey, here's what we're bringing you in to do. If you spend the whole season as a practice player that runs the point guard position for the second team or whatever, great. If you come in and you earn a handful of minutes, like at the end of the bench, great. If you come in and you actually earn real minutes, then awesome. And she's very aware of that. Talked with me about how she's not coming in asking for playing time, asking for money or anything like that. She just realizes it's a crazy opportunity to go from D3 to D1. And she's just really happy to get the chance to play at Iowa and be on the roster. So someone that's going to come in and work hard for sure, and not know that nothing is given to her and nothing is going to be expected of her in terms of being a notable player on this roster. But if she comes in and works and makes a role for herself, then great. But I mean, obviously some talent. Averaging 23.6 points per game. I don't care if it's the D3, D2, NAIA. That's pretty impressive to be able to put up points like that. So certainly someone that kind of helps fill. We've talked in the past about. You have to have those 8, 9, 10 players that you feel like, hey, in any given game, we can play these players. But you also need those 11th and 12th players on the roster for practice, for injuries, for foul trouble. If foul trouble and injuries stack up in any given game or something like that. We saw this past season sometimes where Kelly Levine was put in the game for stretches because they had a couple of injuries, or maybe there was some foul trouble in the guards, and maybe Medina ends up filling a role like that where, hey, you get called on, you don't play in any Big Ten game, but all of a sudden you're playing Indiana and someone's got foul trouble and you got to come in for 5-6 minutes in a game. That's a possible role for her. So I think it's a good addition to have someone that knows how to score, knows how to facilitate. She said she was more of a facilitator in high school and kind of grew into the scoring role at Knox. But someone that really knows how to play the point guard position, and someone that Iowa looked at and watched the film and said, hey, this is someone that can help us out, at least with the practice side of things. And like I said, if she grows into a role, then fantastic.
I will read the quote from you on social media that I think Iowa fans are just going to love. And again, Kyle will have much more with Bria Medina coming up in an article sometime this afternoon, probably early this afternoon. But it's an insane opportunity, D3 to D1. I'm not going to be begging for playing time or money. I'm here to play basketball. I'm here for the experience. That's pretty refreshing this day and age, isn't it, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of that. And I guess, to be fair, a lot of that, the playing time and the money stuff is when you have D1 to D1 transfers. But yeah, I mean, for her to come in and kind of understand, I'm sure the coaching staff was very upfront with, like, hey, we're not bringing you in to start or something like that. But she's very aware of the jump from D3 to D1 is a big one. And that, there's not going to be many expectations for her. But I think she's just really happy with the opportunity that, looking back on it, the fact that she almost didn't play college basketball, and now here she is. She's committed to Iowa to play her senior season. I think she's very aware of, has a good perspective on what that road has been like. And she's going to come in and enjoy the experience. I mean, we think Iowa can be a Sweet 16, Elite 8 team next year. With what they have. And I think she's very excited to be a part of that. And if that means she doesn't play any minutes, I think she's going to be really happy with getting to do whatever her role is at Iowa. If that means she gets to play some minutes, even better for her. But I think she has a great perspective on, coming in and having this opportunity. And, I think it's really nice for her to not have, there are no expectations of, I should come in and be this for this team. Just come in and work hard. And if something happens, something happens. But in talking to her, it was really cool to hear that perspective, because you're right. Again, it happens more with the D1 to D1 level transfers, but we don't hear that perspective a lot anymore. That's more of a perspective that you got maybe 15 years ago, where maybe you transferred from like a mid-major to a Big Ten school and said, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just here to play basketball. We don't get that as much these days. So it was nice to hear someone say that.
Kyle, you look at it, and I think people have texted me. I had 2 or 3 that said, hey, that's from your backyard. How good is she? I did not watch Knox College basketball, women's basketball this year. I have no idea. I thought it was. I did a double take when they said Knox College. I'm like Knox College in Gale. Wow, that's really cool. So I think it is a cool story, and I think that's the kind of fun of it. Is it's a nice little chapter of. We'll see how it progresses, and if she contributes in any way, shape, and form, that's awesome for the program and for her. If not, she's going to live the experience of an awesome season at one of the best programs in college women's basketball right now. Elsewhere, the Hawkeyes add one more, Ella Stromdahl. Is that what we're going with? My name?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I get weirded out by the 2 dots over letters. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it differently or not. But she's a Swedish freshman. How did this all come about? And what do we know about Ella?
Yeah, this is really interesting because I think, there's been a portion of the fan base that's kind of maybe not only wondered, but hoped that the coaching staff would kind of dip into the international market. I don't have a list of names in front of me. I know there's been a number of international players, Europe and in Australia, certainly. I think Charlize Lager-Walker, who was over at UCLA, was from New Zealand. So there's been a handful of players in the Big Ten that have come from the international market. And I think it's an area that, maybe doesn't get recruited as heavily. And there's some pretty good players over there. Some that come to mind. Rebecca Mikolashikova, who was over at Ohio State a couple years ago, was from Croatia, I think. Jazz Shelley at Nebraska a few years ago was Australia. Like Georgia Amor was from Australia. She played at Virginia Tech and Kentucky. So there's certainly some good players. Now, I'm not comparing Stromdahl to any of them. I'm just naming some notable players to say that you can get some pretty good players from outside of the United States. Certainly Canada as well with some really good players. But Iowa had never really dipped into that market. And this is kind of the first one with Ella Stromdahl. Hers is just kind of interesting because I was again, it's Sweden, so there's not like the recruiting rankings that you get with the United States. There's not like high school stats where you're really looking at stuff. It's very different over there, so it's hard to dig up information. With an academy team in the Swedish Pro League, and as I'm looking at it, I'm looking at this roster, and I'm like, they went like 1-23 in the Pro League, and I'm looking at it, and these players on this roster are 17, 18, 19 years old, and I start looking at the Pro League, the other teams in the roster. This is an academy team of high school age students playing against 20, 25, 30-year-olds who have played in college or played wherever in Europe, and now they're playing in the Swedish Pro League. So Stromdahl, averaged 6.5 points, 3 rebounds a game, I think, in that league. Like I said, they really struggled. I think they averaged like 50 points per game or something like that. But I think that's what you'd expect from high school age players going up against players that are playing for their livelihood. I mean, Jewel Spear, who some will know from Tennessee, plays in that league. There's a Michigan State player, former Michigan State player that played in that league. There was someone else that I tweeted about that was notable that played in the league. So there's a couple of players that are several years out of their college careers that are playing in that league. So certainly Stromdahl is going to be. I don't think she's going to be surprised by maybe the physicality and maybe the speed of the Big Ten or the D1 level. I think the talent level overall is going to be a little bit better and maybe even quite a bit better. But I think once you've gone up against 25, 30-year-olds, I don't think you're going to be surprised by some of the physicality, some of the speed of the game. So I think that's the good thing for her. Is some people looked at some of the sense she didn't shoot it very well. She played 25 minutes a game and only averaged 6 points, whatever. She's going up against grown women. Like that's going to be very, very valuable to her as she comes in. And we see it at the men's level as well. Like Illinois gets all these players that have played, how many years against grown men and stuff. And that's certainly helpful. So I think that's going to be helpful for her. But certainly there's going to be a level of, she's going to have to come in and kind of have to adjust to the level of the Big Ten, level of D1 basketball. But the good thing is she's going to be a true freshman. So she's got some years to develop. I watched like a 3-minute highlight video of her, and there's certainly some skill there. Can shoot the three. At 6 foot tall, she, some people are saying, is she a wing? Could she be like a stretch 4? I think she could potentially be a stretch 4. Depending on, with Iowa and the 4-out-1 in offense, she could definitely be a stretch 4. She could definitely play a 3 if you wanted to run her at a more typical position for her. But can shoot the 3, can dribble, drive, can do all that, can rebound, post it up a little bit. I don't know how much she would do that at Iowa, but certainly has some skill. I think it's going to be a matter of, like I said, I watched a 3-minute highlight video. So I watched the highlights. What are some of the things that she doesn't do as well? What's the consistency like? But I certainly think from what I watched, there's certainly some skill there. And maybe this is more something that maybe she comes in and whatever she does in her Iowa career, but maybe it opens up the ability to maybe if there's other players from Sweden out there or other areas of Europe, maybe this is how Iowa gets their foot in the door and starts going after the international market a little bit.
Kyle, you look at it and I think they're probably done. I know you've mentioned on social media they're probably done. I think other beat writers, Chad, Jeff, those guys have kind of all said the similar stuff. Big picture this for us. It's going to be 11. That's what it's at. Is that enough? And I'll probably go to look at the chat right now, and there's going to be somebody on there saying injuries happen. That's not enough players. Is 11, are they rolling the dice at all when it comes to being at 11? We love the core. We love the top 8, top 9, if you will. Is 11 enough in your eyes? And is this what it's going to be?
I think, first off, to answer that last question, I think if the right person, again, and there's not many people out in the portal anymore that have made notable impacts at other schools. So if they were to add another player, it's not going to be someone that averaged 12 points, 15 points a game somewhere. It'd be someone that averaged a lower amount of points, maybe a I don't want to say a project type player, but maybe an end of the bench type player. But I think that would have to be someone that would have to fall into Iowa's lap. Maybe someone that hasn't maybe gotten the portal interest that they thought they would get, or maybe they're someone that, because we talk about it every year, there's always a pretty large group of players that find themselves later in the summer that still don't have a home. So maybe it's someone that reaches out to Iowa later, in a couple of weeks or in a month from now that still doesn't have a home and says, hey, you guys looking at a 12th player, something like that. I don't know that Iowa's going to go looking for a 12th player at this point, because Janice said that they would be okay with 11 players on the roster. For me, I think 11 players, and I think I said this all the way back at the beginning of the portal cycle. I said 11 is probably okay, but I think 12 is really where you would want to get to. Now you can argue if you're playing your 10th, 11th, and or 12th player in a game for notable minutes because of injuries, like the season's probably going in the wrong direction if that's how the injuries have affected you, that those players are playing notable minutes. But you look at last year, Chit-Chat Wright missed several games, came out a couple of games early, the Rutgers game, the Lindenwood game early, came out early in those games. Kylie Fierbach missed, 3-4 games with an injury. Hannah Stolke missed a couple of games. So you had some, and obviously Taylor McCabe then gets the injury in the Ohio State game, missed the last 14, 15 games. So they had injuries last year. Luckily, none of the Chit-Chat's injury never overlapped with Kylie Fierbach, and Kylie's never overlapped with Taylor's injury, and Hannah's did with Taylor, but luckily those were different position groups. But there's no saying that the Kylie Fierbach ankle tweak, they have something like that this year, and it also lines up with someone getting a concussion like Chit-Chat did, and all of a sudden you have a couple players out for a couple of games. So I think 11. I wouldn't say 11 is rolling the dice, because I think it'd still have to be several injuries stacked up, or a couple injuries and then crazy foul trouble in a game, something like that. So I think they're fine at 11, but again, I would have liked them to get to 12. Again, like I said, maybe something happens down the road that kind of falls in their lap where they get a 12th player. But as you said, I think the core of this team is still pretty good. I don't know how they're going to be height wise, because I think there were a lot of people that were hoping they would go get a power forward. I just don't think that kind of panned out the way that the coaching staff was hoping for. You're going to have McKenna Velichko. Obviously, we saw Journey Houston play the 4, and she's been on here on your show saying she wants to play on the perimeter more. I don't know if there's people that are confused about that or concerned about that. In the 4-out-1 in offense, she will be able to play offense on the perimeter as a 4. And then if they want her to defend a 4 on the defensive end, she can still do that. It's not a matter of, hey, she's going to play minutes of the 4. She's not, the coaching staff is still not going to do what she wants to do, which is play on the perimeter. She can play on the perimeter in the 4-out-1 in and still play the 4. So I think that'll be something that'll be helpful. Obviously last year, Journey got the minutes that she was going to get. That was the position where if she was going to get minutes last season, it was going to be at the 4. And she mentioned she wants to play on the perimeter because they are changing the offense. It's going to allow her to do both of those things, play the 4 and play on the perimeter. I still think that they are, potentially a little undersized at that position. I think they'll rebound fine. Because Ava Hayden can certainly rebound. McKenna Velichko is a great rebounder. Again, it'll be a little bit different for the D1 level in the Big Ten, but she's always been a great rebounder. And then Journey Houston certainly has been a great rebounder. And I think they have more guard rebounding this year, which we've talked about as well with Amari Whiting. Danny Carnegie rebounded pretty well. Taylor Stremlow isn't a high level rebounder, but can also grab some rebounds. So I think guard rebounding, they'll be a little bit better. So I don't think there's going to be a big, unless they run into a really tall team. I think in general they'll be still a really solid rebounding team. But I think defensively, if you run into a team that has a bigger 4, it could be interesting if McKenna Velichko comes off the court because she's 6'2", and all of a sudden you're running Journey Houston there at the 4 or someone else at the 4. I think it could get a little interesting height-wise from just a pure defensive standpoint, but I think rebounding they'll be fine. But overall, I still really like the core. I think this is a really good team that they've got, especially from an offensive side. I think if you tally up the points per game from last year, I'm sure it's a number of points per game that you're like, well, I don't think they're going to average 95 points per game or something like that, because you got you got Ava, you got Chit-Chat, and then you bring in Danny Carnegie, who averaged like 18 a game, and then you got Amari Whiting, who averaged like 10 a game. So certainly if you add all that up, you can say, well, I don't know that they're going to average that much. So I think they've got enough offense, and I think they've got the rebounding. It's just going to be a matter of how do they match up against certain teams defensively with maybe a little bit less height than some people were hoping for.
Kyle Huesmann joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. What's next for Jan Jensen? I like to explain, like, Tommy's out watching high school basketball right now for the guys' side. I'm sure that's busy for the girls' side soon as well. what's it look like? I mean, you get done with the season and you have to rebuild your own roster, and then you start going to look at the future. What's next when it comes to what Iowa looks at when it comes to future recruits and building future classes as well?
Yeah, if they truly are done with the portal class, and I guess Stromdahl's not a portal person, but I guess you put it together as the off-season class, I guess. If that is truly done, the next thing for them, and they've already started because the AAU circuit has already began. They've already been out a couple of times and watched some people. The next thing now is going to be getting into to all that and looking at, obviously, the 2027 recruiting class is going to be what's going to be finishing up here soon. They've already got Jadis Subert is on there already as a commit. We'll see where they go from there if they add another 2 people. Because of the fact that they are at 11 players on the roster, I think that allows them to maybe get another player in the 27 class. If they went to 12 players on the roster, I think, maybe that would change what they do in the 27 class, because I think we are going towards more of a time in women's basketball. Well, maybe not in women's basketball, but men's basketball as well, where you're going to probably go with 11 or 12 players on the roster. Just from a money standpoint, does it make sense to have a 14 or 15th player on the roster that never plays, is only there for practice, and, doesn't really provide anything in terms of notable, obviously I don't want to say nothing at all, but in terms of, the money these days, it's better to go with 11 or 12 players. So I think the fact that they're at 11 will allow them to maybe go after someone else in the 27 class that maybe they were holding off on at this point or whatever. But that'll be up next, is really finishing off that 27 class, whatever they want to do. The big one out there right now for them is Nation Williams. She's got Iowa in her top 10. That's kind of the highest rated of that group. And then there's some other, there's still some high 4-stars that they've offered and have had visits in from. So that's going to be the next thing. But then again, they'll be out there watching 28, 29, 20, 30 players out there.
Crazy.
We'll see if there's some more offers this summer, but certainly a lot of it is just watching players and continuing your evaluation of maybe players that have offered. Are these players that we've offered, are they continuing to get better? And continuing to improve? Because sometimes offers go out to players and it's more like, we see what you've done so far. We expect you to continue to improve. And by the time you get to your junior, senior year, if you've continued to improve, maybe you are the player that we want to bring into Iowa. So right now, a lot of it is valuation and then just pure recruiting at this point for the classes going forward. And like I said, if something happens in the portal where someone reaches out and kind of falls in their lap, maybe that happens. But I think from now on to the end of the summer, it's going to be recruiting. And once baseball's done, I'll see if I can find my way out to a couple of tournaments. I was in Chicago last year. I have to make it to Des Moines if there's some notable players in Des Moines this year. But when baseball's done, that'll be my thing, is see where I might go this summer for a couple of weekends.
Kyle, you look at baseball. You mentioned baseball. I want to talk about why you're in Des Moines, and a good way to start last night with the baseball team now. But you're a Bettendorf guy. We got to talk about a Bettendorf commit. We had Wrigley Mathis on the show, I believe last year. Wouldn't it have been? Was he?
Yeah,
he's just
right
a
after.
freshman,
Was
right?
it right after they? Was it right after they clinched the spot in the state tournament, or was it while they were there at the state tournament?
Yeah, either or. And I know that he won MAC Player of the Year. And and I love the conversation because and youth baseball parents that are watching this will know, but everybody gets caught up on, majors, AAA, AA, whatever. I mean, he played AA baseball his whole youth baseball career. Good baseball player, played at Bettendorf and played at a great level. And I remember him leaving Bettendorf going like, he's good enough to play at like the biggest level. He commits, goes to junior college for a year. Commits to Iowa this past week. I think he chose the Hawkeyes over Illinois, Penn State, and some others. Had a great season. He's going to be on the show on Monday. You're a Bettendorf guy. What is Iowa getting with Wrigley Mathis? I thought it was a great addition to the program for Coach Heller.
Yeah, no. First off, it's great to see a Bettendorf guy that's going to be on the Iowa roster. I don't know who the last person would be. I don't know. There hasn't been one that I can think of that came from Bettendorf. But it's really cool to see, and it goes back to last year when we talked about the state tournament. I mean, I played baseball at Bettendorf. Was on varsity for a couple of years, and we didn't win a playoff game either of those years. And there was a pretty lengthy streak of years where we hadn't won a playoff game. So for him to be a part of the team that won, they won a playoff game. They made it to the sub-state final, played against Kate Obermueller's Iowa City High team and lost. And then obviously making the run to the state tournament I had a lot of fun watching them. I paid to whatever that was to pay to watch those games. That was a lot of fun. I was back home to watch them walk it off against Dubuque Hempstead. So from a Bettendorf standpoint, that was really cool to watch him be a part of that and for Bettendorf to do that. But now to be at Iowa, it's really cool to see a Bettendorf guy at Iowa. And Certainly a high-level player. I think he's still like 55 bases as a senior at Bettendorf and had 10 triples, so certainly a lot of speed. And you know that Rick Kelly loves to have a guy that can really cause some chaos on the bases, and Wrigley's a guy that is more often than not going to turn a double into a triple and a single into a double and steal bases and stuff like that. And had a really, really good year at Kirkwood. Admittedly, I knew that Wrigley was MAC Player of the Year, and I knew that he was really good at Bettendorf. I didn't know that he was quite that good at Kirkwood as well. I mean, bats 387, had an over 500 on base percentage, 13 doubles, 5 triples, 6 home runs, stole 25 bases. That's a really, really good year to JUCO for a freshman year. And Kirkwood's a successful program, and that's the conference that they play in with like Southeastern and I don't know who else is in that. There's a couple others in that conference. That's a really solid baseball conference too. So Iowa's got how many guys? 4 or 5 guys on the roster from Southeastern. So for him to do that against a pretty solid group of talent, that's really good. I think it was Illinois and Gonzaga. He said he had also talked to Vanderbilt really early in the process. So certainly some good teams were looking at him. The coaching staff told him they think he can come in and be an impact player right away next year. Certainly with kind of that top of the lineup guy. He would definitely be one of those guys that maybe bats leadoff for you. A guy that can get a leadoff single and steal second for you, and then all of a sudden it takes a bunt and you got one out and you got a guy on third because he singled, stole base, and that's kind of the pure Heller ball there is really moving a guy around like that. So certainly he's going to have to battle some guys. They've got Brett White, who's going to be back next year. Kellen Strohmeyer's going to be back in the outfield. You got Jalen Ziegler, who's going to be back. So certainly there's some guys there that he'll have to battle against. But I really like looking at his numbers. And you have a guy that can hit 5 triples. Like I said, he had 10 at Bettendorf as a senior. A guy that's still 55 bases as a senior at Bettendorf and had 25 at Kirkwood. A guy that certainly, even if he's not in the starting lineup every day, a guy that you can call on in the 7th, 8th inning when you need a guy to go steal a base to get in a scoring position, certainly can do that as well. So I think this is a good addition for Iowa. You always wonder a little bit about the jump from Kirkwood or jump from the JUCO level to the Big Ten to the D1 level. But Iowa's had guys in the past, certainly on the pitching side. Isaiah Fallard is a guy probably the most notable on the offensive side that came from Kirkwood and was really good at Iowa. So we've seen it before. Like I said, going back to the Bettendorf thing, I'm really excited to see a Bettendorf guy on the Iowa baseball team next year.
Absolutely. A great start to the weekend for Iowa baseball, obviously playing at Principal Park, early start on a Thursday because they want to get this thing done earlier. The Big Ten tournament starting next week as well. Your thoughts? I don't think it was ideal. I wouldn't get down 5-0 tonight. I don't know if that's just me. I'm no baseball expert, but a nice comeback victory. Talk about the game and also the environment. Principal Park and Des Moines fans and people watching this in Central Iowa can get out and watch Iowa baseball tonight and tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as big of a crowd as last year it was for Oregon State, and that's not surprising with Oregon State being a top 10 team last year, where Iowa was in terms of their season last year. But I will say I haven't seen an attendance number of 3,000, 3,500, whatever it was. Very vocal crowd. We had the windows open up there in the press box. I thought it was a really loud crowd for who was there, so that was great to see that the people that did show up were very vocal and into the game. But yeah, you're right. I think if Rick Kelly and the coaching staff were putting together a blueprint of, because Purdue's a really good team. I mean, I think they're an NCAA regional team. They're right on the bubble right now. I don't want to get into what I think about that. I think they're an NCAA regional team. I don't think the plan of how do we get to a series win over a regional team was let's go down 5-0 in the second inning of game 1. Maddox Freeze didn't have his best stuff. Purdue is a very good lineup, and they took advantage of some pitches in the zone. Had some extra base hits. And got on him early. And Maddox Freeze has been really good for this team all year. Has pitched out of the bullpen early in the year, was really good, giving them some chances in some games, and then moved into the starting rotation. And up until last week before the Nebraska series, was third in the Big Ten among starters in ERA. Had like a 2.5 ERA. So he's been picking the team up all year and helping them with some great outings. And it was time for the offense to step up and help him. And, he didn't have his best stuff. And now it's time for the offense to step and say, you've gotten us several times all year where you've helped us out. It's time for us to back you up and put some runs on the board. And that's what they did. Got a couple of runs early. Got Ben Swales came through a big 2-out RBI single in the second to get on the board. Caleb Wolf with a big 2-out double in the third to put a run on the board. And it's 5-2. Purdue answered with a solo home run in the fourth. And then it kind of broke through from there. The offense really got to Cole Van Assen, the Purdue starter, and got things rolling from there. Put up 5 runs in the fourth, and the big part of it, Kellen Strohmeyer had an opposite field double off the wall. And then the 2 big hits, Joey Narrett hits a 2-run shot, and then Cooper Schulte on the very next pitch, back-to-back home runs, sent one well over the fence and left for back-to-back home runs, and it was all of a sudden it's a tie game, 6-6, and then the next inning they come out and put up 3 more. And Joey Nara hit his second home run of the game, and it might have bounced on the street. I think it's Water Street on the outside of right field. Might have bounced on Water Street and gone into the Des Moines River. I mean, it was that home run off the bat was, yep, that's a home run. It's 10-6. You know, let's put it up on the scoreboard. So Nara had a really good night. On the pitching staff side, I should mention Justin Hackett, a Des Moines area guy from Winterset. Year has not gone the way that he had hoped for, certainly, but played a big role last night. He comes in after Maddox Freeze had only pitched a couple innings and had a spot where needs to come in, and it's like, hey, you know, we need to get some outs to at least keep us in this game. And, you know, if it doesn't happen, I was probably throwing some younger guys out there, and you're kind of just punting the game at that point. But Hackett comes in, gets 6 outs, had 3 strikers, did give up the solo home run in the 4th, like I mentioned, but did a good job of slowing the game down, got 6 outs. In the Iowa offense, obviously got a couple of runs, but you go into the bottom of the 5th inning, I believe it was, or the 4th inning, and it's 6-2. He got you 6 outs, and all of a sudden it doesn't feel quite as bad. Then it's like, okay, you know, we've got a couple outs on the board without a pile of runs. Now the offense can go to work. And I thought Justin Hackett going in and getting 6 outs was big. To just slow the game down, calm the game down, give the offense a chance to put some runs on the board. They did, and then they go to Kyle Olivo, and Olivo was fantastic. Early had a little bit of struggle with the fastball command, but was really good after that. Ends up striking out 9 guys over 5 innings. Struck out 3 guys around a single or around a double in the 9th. He was phenomenal. I mean, we've really seen him grow throughout the season into a really prominent role in this bullpen where he can come and give you 5 innings and you know, close the game out. And Coach Rick Heller mentioned that he felt like that was maybe maybe the best outing of the year for Olivo, just because he did fight through some things really early in that outing where the fastball command wasn't quite there, but was able to still get outs. And then the fastball command came back, and then he was really good from there. A guy that's certainly, you know, you look ahead to next year is probably a front runner to earn a role in the rotation. But a really good win, because like I said, Purdue's a regional team. They're fighting. Every win that they get right now is helping them in terms of the bubble situation for the NCAA tournament. So to fall behind 5-0 and come back and get the win, I think it's a really good example, and we've seen several in this year, of how Rick Heller teams do not, you know, they never give up. This season hasn't, you know, it's been up and down. There's probably been a few more downs than ups this year. They had been playing well as of late. You go to Lincoln and you're hoping that maybe you can pull off something on the road against a rival, and they get swept. So they're coming off another down, and all of a sudden you're down 5-0 on Thursday night on a short week. I'm not going to say a ton of teams, but there are teams out there that would probably lay down, and, you know, we're just going to wave the white flag. You know, maybe their version of Justin Hackett comes in and gives up 3 runs. He's not too excited that he got called on in a 5-0 game. You know, oh, they're bringing me in. They think we're, you know, whatever. You know, there's teams out there that would have laid down. That first pitcher that would have come out of the bullpen would have given up 3 more runs. Maybe they get run ruled 12-1 in 7 innings or something. But Hackett comes in, does his job. The offense just puts their head down and grinds, gets some runs on the board, gets the game going. And that's not the first time this year. It hasn't always turned into a win. But you look at last week against Nebraska. Nebraska jumps on Iowa after run ruling them on Friday, and all of a sudden Iowa's in a huge hole on Saturday. And they come back and they led that game 11-8, and, you know, whatever the 9th inning or the 8th inning, whatever it was, they didn't win that game. But a really good example of this team. Really, you don't see them give up in any situation. And again, you know, the regular season finale, Iowa's not looking at a regional. I mean, realistically, this weekend is nothing more than just kind of maybe trying to build some momentum before the Big Ten tournament, because they got to go win the Big Ten tournament if they want to make the NCAA tournament. So really, in a lot of ways, this series doesn't matter a ton. And they fall behind 5-0, and all right, let's go put up 10 runs and win the game. That's really, really great to see out of a Rick Heller team, that they just have not given up this season in a number of situations, and last night was certainly an example of that.
Before I let you go, give people in the Des Moines area, what's tonight's schedule? What's Saturday? What's it look like if they want to get down to Principal Ballpark and say hi to Kyle Huesmann if he ever leaves the palatial press box and joins the common people? What's the game times like this week?
Yeah, tonight is 6:30 at Principal Park. Friday night 6:30, and then Saturday is the series finale at 1. So a couple chances to see him. If you're in the Des Moines area, I really like Principal Park. I mean, it's a AAA ballpark, so you expect it to be a solid ballpark. Like I said, there was a solid crowd last night. I would expect it to probably get a little bit larger today, and probably a little bit larger on Saturday, just because, you know, Thursday at 6:30 is not necessarily the greatest time, because obviously people have to go to work today. You know, and, you know, Friday night is probably a little bit better because you got Saturday, and certainly Saturday at 1 is a great time. So if you're on the fence, maybe the times work a little bit better for you the rest of the weekend. But yeah, for me, I'll be there on Friday and Saturday, and then I'll be off to Omaha. I will be at every Iowa baseball game the rest of the season. If they pull something off crazy and they make an NCAA tournament regional, I will be there. So whatever's left for Iowa, I'm going to be there for those games. And then certainly once the baseball season wraps up, I'll have some early look ahead to next season, kind of some early thoughts on maybe what they should try to look for in the transfer portal, what pieces they have returning, and then certainly I have to get on a roster breakdown for the women's basketball team and kind of look at what's going on. So I'll have that as well. And then, like I said, somewhere along the line, I'll probably be in Chicago in July for Nike Nationals to watch some basketball. But so baseball is certainly the thing that I'm going to kind of focus on here. Now that I feel like we're done with the women's basketball roster, we're going to give it a week here or so to really focus in on the end of the baseball season, and then we'll see what goes on after that.
He's a busy man. He's Kyle Huesmann. He is the engine that drives the Hawkeye Report. I appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy Omaha as well. We'll catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Awesome. That is Kyle Huesmann. Don't forget, coming out later this morning or this afternoon, he'll have much more on the transfers, the Brie Medina for sure, heading to Iowa. Some good stuff coming up from Kyle, and of course he'll be all over the baseball coming up. And don't forget Wrigley Mathis, former Bettendorf standout, now heading to Iowa, will be on with us on Monday right here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. So looking forward to that, to say the least. Coming up after the break, the NFL schedules are out. That's why I'm wearing the beloved Lion hoodie today. We will break down the Bears schedule with former Quad City sports writer and good friend of mine and Bear knucklehead, Bobby Metcalf. That's all coming up right after this. You're watching OTA on a Friday right here in the Quad Cities. For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. If you need help with your heating or air conditioning,
or electrical,
or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
This summer, light the fuse on something bigger than fireworks. It's red, white, and you at the John Deere Classic. July 1st through 5th with world-class golf and 4th of July energy you can feel. Wednesday is Youth Day and kids 15 and under get in free with a paid adult. After golf, concerts on the course rocks the weekend. Carrie Underwood, headlines, and All-American 4th of July celebration. And Old Dominion closes out Sunday. Stars, stripes, summer tradition. Get tickets now before they're gone at johndeereclassic.com.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Had to pull out the hooded sweatshirt by my beloved Detroit Lions because the NFL schedules are officially out. Everyone's talking about them, looking forward to the fall, and it's an amazing thing because the NFL continues to be king. When you have a schedule reveal, when you already know who you're playing, it's just when you're playing and where you're playing and the times, and everyone's so locked in like they were in the leaks. It just shows how big the NFL is. And of course, the Chicago Bears coming off a magically lucky season. So we're joined by our magically, look at the look on your face. No, not magically lucky, Bobby?
You don't. If you're good, you're good. You win games how you win games.
You make your own block, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Bobby Metcalf joins us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Am I right? Is the NFL schedule release, like the NFL just does it right, don't they? Or are you one of those guys that roll your head and roll your eyes and say like, why do we care about everything they do?
I think it's a combination for me. It's nice to know the dates and everything, but like we've known the opponents, and it's just like, but they've done a really good job of keeping themselves in the media talk for 24/7, 365. We're in the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs right now, and everyone's talking about the NFL, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's funny because they'll do like the draft, and that dominates, up to April, and then May they have this. Next month they'll start OTAs, and the next thing you know, camp starts and you're ready to go. I mean, they stay in the conversation the entire season. I joked a little bit with the Bears about the magically lucky. They had a good season last year, good head coach, all of those kind of things. When you look at the schedule, you knew what it was, and you knew the ordering is the order. We're going to go through the whole thing in a second. But yes, I agree, you know who it is. But it does, when you put it on paper, you get a chance to look at it. And some stretches, like, if you say the Lions have to go to, as a Lions fan, I know the Lions have to go to Minnesota, to Chicago, and to Green Bay. Now I know they have to go to Minnesota, Chicago, and Green Bay in weeks 15, 17, and 18. It's different when you see it on paper and you put them all together at the end of the season and cold and all those kind of things. It makes it even more difficult. Now that you see the Bears schedule on paper, and we knew it was going to be a tough one, it's a first place schedule. Your overall thoughts or reactions when you see it on paper for the first time?
The Bears are moving the needle. I mean, you look at how many big showcase games they've got, standalone games, a couple Monday nighters, Thursday nighter. They're on Thanksgiving. They're on Christmas. They got a Saturday game. Clearly, the NFL thinks people want to watch Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson a lot. And I can't blame them after, especially the way the season ended with two really, really good playoff games and the game against Green Bay at the end of the season. They're kind of must watch TV right now.
Yeah, and you look at it too with the Bears. I have kids that are like, even when they weren't good, they found their way on primetime enough. And my kids would always be like, why are the Bears on Monday Night Football? They stink. And I'm like, because it's Chicago. It's already a big market, and they have fans all over the world, unfortunately, and country. There's bad people everywhere. I say that all the time, even Columbus, Ohio. Right, Bobby?
Wow, you're just firing shots today. Jeez.
No, I kid. But so I think that part of it is the thing as well. Plus, I do think, and this is not a shot at the Bears at all. I mean, the Lions have like 6 of them or whatever. There's more primetime games now. Do you find that like lessened a little bit? Because now there's Thursday games. Now there's Sunday games. There's Monday games. Now there's Saturday games half the season. There's a Friday game on Black Friday, and there's a Christmas game with the Bears and Packers. I mean, the NFL has done a great job of finding primetime game. Bobby, they're playing Wednesday before Thanksgiving, Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. Like, nothing is safe anymore when it comes to the NFL. They don't play on Tuesday. I think Tuesday is the only day of the week that there's not an NFL game on at some point this season. That makes it so there's more opportunities to play in those big games.
Yeah, and also I think the fact that some of these games are on streaming only takes away a little bit of the shine. Like Thursday night, if you don't have Amazon Prime, you're not watching Thursday night games. If you don't have Netflix, you're not watching the Christmas games. So, yes, the fact that the Bears and the Lions have all these sort of primetime standalone games, it's great, but it's not like the entire country's going to be watching. I mean, it's I'm going to bars a lot of the times in Columbus, Ohio, even if just because the Bears are on Amazon Prime games. I don't subscribe to Amazon Prime. So it's a little bit, I mean, it is not quite as special as it used to be. But that said, when you are the only game on, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs.
No, absolutely. I'm not taking away from anything. I just think there's more of them for everybody. There's more pieces to the pie, and I think that's a good thing for the NFL. I will say this, and I love the fact. I remember when I got married, we got the NFL ticket. We got DirecTV just because I had to have the NFL ticket. I'm a Lions fan, and it was the year they went 0-16. And my wife's like, did we pay money to watch them go, like, not win a game? And I'm like, yes, we did, Jennifer. Thank you. But we also, it was different too. It might not even been that year. I think it was maybe a couple, but they weren't very good. And she's like, they're not very good. I'm like, but the alternative for me was, hey, we're going to go to a bar or someplace, and spend $30. This is back in the day, but me and her are going to go, and it's going to be $30 to eat. We're going to get a few drinks. We're going to get an appetizer eventually along the way. And we're going to spend, and I think at that point we're spending $25 a week on the NFL ticket, maybe 30. And so I'm like, we're going to spend way more than that out and about. So we might as well do it from our own living room. And then I can watch other bad games when my team's losing. So I think that's the idea. And you, like you said, you'll eventually, Bobby, you put them on Prime enough, you'll get that subscription. You put them on Netflix enough, you'll get that subscription. I mean, it's crazy how that stuff is, but they're going to make people get the things that they want to get. So, all right, let's get down to it. The Bears schedule hot off the presses. I've got my pen and paper. Bobby and I are going to go through the entire Bears schedule. I'm always right with these things. Bobby's probably going to be a little too optimistic, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and go through the Bears schedule top to bottom. And Bobby, we'll put it up on the screen again. Make sure I mic you back up again. It opens at Carolina. And I think maybe first picture you think is like, oh, at Carolina, they're not very good. Yes, they made the playoffs last year with the asterisks that like it was the AFC or the NFC South. I saw the Bears are 2.5 point favorites on the road. Your thoughts on game 1, week 1 in Carolina?
That's a no doubt win. I mean, that NFC South was kind of a joke last year. If you remember, like the Falcons ended up having, there was that whole thing with the Falcons Saints at the end. I don't think any of these teams are great. I think, it's in Carolina, but it's, beginning of the season, Bears have time to get ready for it. I'm not saying the Panthers are a bad team. They've improved with Bryce Young's taking a step, and they've got Ted McMillan, and, they made a couple good moves in the offseason, but I just think that just seems way too easy of a opener to me. I think that's probably a Bears win by 3 points to a touchdown is what I would say.
I think I think the first reaction is like, oh, it's a win. It's Carolina, but I think they're an improving team. I do think they got better through the year last year. They took the Rams down to the wire late in the season. I think they're a better football team than people think. With that being said, I do think it's a coin flip game. I don't think it's like one of those, oh, that's it. Like, for example, the Lions play the Saints at home, and I think I saw it was like an 8.5 point favorite already. Like, I don't know if too many people are going to be picking the Bears like in their survivor, but I do think the Bears get a victory week 1 of the season on the road. It's an important game, Bobby. Like, I know openers are always big, but like that's one of those road games that you can steal on the road and win. But I will give them a win as well. I think it's closer to a coin flip than an easy victory, but we'll give the Bears the win on the road as well. Week 2, they come home. They play Minnesota. New quarterbacks. I as a fan of a team in the division, I worry about Kyler Murray simply because I think Kevin O'Connell's really good with quarterbacks. But I've also seen Kyler Murray play so much, and he's still not very good. Your thoughts, week 2, September 20th, Soldier Field, the opener, the place is rocking. What do you got?
This is a no doubt win. I'm not high on Kyler Murray at all. I've seen him play. Dude's, shorter than Bryce Young. We can make the jokes about he's too focused on gaming. Yeah, okay, Kevin O'Connell has done a lot of great work with quarterbacks, but Kyler Murray is not the kind of quarterback he's worked with. He's worked with Sam Darnold. Sure. He's worked with Daniel Jones. He's worked with Kirk Cousins. I mean, those are all guys who are kind of more your standard quarterback. Kyler Murray is, one of these guys. I don't know if he's developed enough as a pure quarterback. I think he's relied a lot on his athleticism, and he'll be throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson a lot, but he doesn't scare me. He's never scared me. He's never scared me coming as a pro. He's never scared me at Arizona. I don't think that was I think their quarterback situation's a mess. I think with Kyler Murray or JJ McCarthy, whoever they decide to go with, it'll probably be Kyler. They don't scare me at all as an option. So I think this is a home game. I think the Bears roll. I mean, it's a division game, so they know each other well. But I think this is a period, obviously win for the Bears.
If the Bears don't beat Minnesota at home this year, I don't think they're going to be as good. Yeah, it's a win. Week 3, I gave the Bears their first loss of the season. I know it's Philly, it's at home, and that place will be rocking. They beat Philly last year in Philly. I think the addition by subtraction of getting rid of A.J. Brown, I do think the Eagles are a really good football team. I think it'll be a good game, but I gave the Bears their first loss. I think you will disagree, but go ahead.
I will, and I think, does everyone remember what happened on Black Friday last year when the Bears went into Philly and ran all over them? I think Philly is that there's a lot of mess there between, Sirianni's got issues. I think Sirianni's a great coach, but he's clearly got some ups and downs in terms of his temperament. I mean, Jalen Hurts is up and down. You've got this whole A.J. Brown, whatever. I think, and you're going in, and it's at home. I think, and on a Monday night, you got an extra day to prepare. I see this as a win. I don't think this is a blowout win. And I mean, that game on Black Friday was relatively close until kind of the fourth quarter. But I just think you have to remember what they did in Philly a year ago, or last year. And I think the Bears have gotten better. And I would think the Eagles are, I don't know what they've done. There's a lot of kind of question marks around that team. So I would say that's a win. But it's good. That's going to be a tough game.
Not to get stuck on a game, I'll just say, yes, I mean, maybe the Bears have gotten better. Their offensive line right now is arguably worse, and that's what they did really well, was run the football. And we'll see what happens at the center position, but Dahlman was really good. So if it is Blackberry, it's got to be a step back, and you don't know left tackle. So, and I just think the Eagles are really – and again, it could – honestly, it's at home on Monday Night Football. I don't love kicking against them, but I'll go Eagles as well. We're not going to get – because we'll be here all day. If we're both saying wins against the Jets. Can we move on? We're good with that? Okay. The first Packers game of the year comes up on the road week 5 in Lambeau. I have a loss there. I have the Bears getting swept by the Packers this year. I'll let you know that as well. Your thoughts going to Lambeau Field? That's the place they didn't beat them at last year. It was Lambeau. Your thoughts week 5?
Yeah, I'm going to say this is a loss as well. Up there, the Packers are going to be good this year, as always. I think it's going to be a tight. I think it's going to be a tight game.
They all will be. I mean, that's the NFL.
They all will be. The one thing that I think the Bears fans have to remember is that actually all 3 meetings, the Packers kind of controlled the game, and then the Bears pulled it out. They almost pulled it out at Lambeau. Then they pulled it out at home in Chicago, and they pulled it out at the wild card game. But they were trailing by double digits in 2 of those games. So I mean, the Bears are going to have to play really well, I think, to be in these games. We'll also know a little more about the Bears at this point, and defensively, how they're playing. How Colson Loveland and Luther Burden will fit into bigger roles, how they're going to adjust without DJ Moore. So I mean, there are some question marks, but we'll have some answers at this point, and maybe the Bears will be firing all cylinders in those first 4 games, and they'll go up and give Green Bay a game. But I think this one is going to be a loss. I just think it's on the road against your biggest rival. I think that will be, I got them as a loss on that one too.
Week 6 of the season, they go to Atlanta. Atlanta and the New York Giants are the 2 teams that scare the bejeebus out of me, because I think they got good coaches and I think they had decent talent. I think Harbaugh will turn around the Giants relatively quickly. And I think Kevin Stefanski, I know that people, I mean, he's from the Browns, all those, I mean, he did good things in Cleveland before the last couple of years, and they completely messed up their quarterback position. I don't know if the quarterback position is very good where he's going. I will admit that. I don't know if that's the case. Boy, it's another coin flip for me. Last coin flip I did, I gave to the Bears on the road at Carolina. I'm going to give this one to the Falcons and give them a loss. Your thoughts on Atlanta on the road?
I'm not scared by those quarterbacks, whether it's Penix or Tua. Like, don't scare me. I mean,
I forgot
Kevin Stefanski loves to run the football. So I mean, you've got Bijan, so you'll see a lot of Bijan. But the big question for the Bears is the pass rush, and I think if you're not worried about either quarterback beating you, you can kind of focus on stopping the run a little bit more. So, obviously I'm a Bears fan, so I'm going to keep sounding like a Bears homer. But I think, it's in Atlanta. It's going to be a tough game. You're coming off of that Green Bay game, which will probably be an emotional one. I think it's going to be close, but I will give this one to the Bears as well.
I think that the Patriots Week 7, I'm not a Patriots guy this year. And I know it's the easy thing to do with Vrabel. Even if Vrabel wasn't like doing God knows what with God knows who, I just thought that was too quick, too fast. If Washington from 2 years ago makes sense and the regression they had the past year, I kind of felt the same thing maybe with the Patriots this year. And the Patriots didn't play anybody last year at all. So I like Week 7. Give me the Bears to get back on track because I have them at 500 right now. So getting them back over the hump, getting back on track and getting them back to 4-3 in the season. I got them beating the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. Your thoughts?
I agree. I think, everyone talked about it going into the Super Bowl that the Patriots kind of took advantage of the schedule they had. And then you get the advantage of playing the Broncos in the championship game without their starting quarterback. They got incredibly lucky. And there's been a lot of distractions around that team and its head coach all offseason. And it just kind of smells to me like a team that's going to take a step back. Now, they'll still be good because that division outside of Buffalo is pretty weak. But, I think there's a lot of question marks around that team. Now, if they do get A.J. Brown, like we're all thinking, then that's going to change things. But, I lean towards a Bears win as well.
Almost a mini bye to go from Thursday Night Football to Monday Night Football, going out to Seattle and going out to Seattle. I have that as I don't think Seattle's going to be as good as they were last year. I don't think they're going to repeat, but they're still a really good football team out there. Back to 4-4 is why I have the Bears. You have them at 6-1 right now. Do you have them at 7-1 after 8 games? Are you gonna win here?
Nope. I have them at 6-2, and I actually have them getting the doors beat off, like in this game, Super Bowl champ. And this is where I think so. You're going to have the narrative for the first 6-7 weeks of, the Bears are 5-1, 6-1, and everyone's saying, "Man, are they?" This is the team. They're Super Bowl contenders. Caleb Williams, MVP. Ben Johnson, Coach of the Year type stuff. I think this is when the Bears go out to Seattle and get absolutely housed. So then the discussion is now, overrated. That's when all the media kind of narrative turns on them again. So I think this is going to be this is when they're going to kind of have one of those games where they just don't show up. The defense gets torched. And I think this is not a close game, and they're 6-2 at this point.
You look at that next week, and the next maybe 3 weeks, a bye week, and it's sandwiched between Tampa Bay at home and Saints at home. Week 11, I have a win there with the Saints. I think the same thing, and I hate to say this because I like Baker Mayfield, but I don't know how good the Bucs are going to be this season. So I have them kind of getting healthy in this part of the season. I have them, as I look down on my stuff, I've kind of confused all my week ones and all that kind of stuff. But I have them winning against Tampa, getting a bye week, and getting an easier win against the Saints. That stretch for you, what do you see?
See, I think they lose to Tampa Bay, and I think it's because they're coming off that Seattle loss. And I think this is kind of when they're going to hit that little kind of midseason stretch where, every team kind of goes through it and they kind of lose a game or two where you're like, maybe what is this team really? So I think they lose that game going into the bye week, giving players a chance to reset. And then I have them coming out of the bye week and beating the Saints.
So then we go to Thanksgiving, Bobby, the first of 2 games between our beloved teams, the Lions and the Bears. I'm trying to think back of the last time the Bears beat the Lions. It's been so long. And we'll come back on camera for this just to make sure that people realize that this is Ben's daddy. His name's Dan. Say hi to Bobby. He says yet to beat Daddy. He's. This is all I got, Bobby. This is it. Look at you, roll your eyes. You miss me, don't you? They played on Thanksgiving a couple years ago, and Caleb Williams didn't know enough to call a timeout. I mean, Eberflus didn't either, but the guy on the field could have called one as well. I have the Lions. God, I hope. You don't understand. Like, Thanksgiving's, it's the holidays, and the Randazzos, this is our game. It doesn't always go our way. I have the Lions winning the first game in Detroit. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Ooh, Bobby, I had your mic off, so say that again. I had your mic off. Sorry, say that again.
Classic of you to blame the rookie instead of the head coach.
It's just being a quarterback in the NFL. I'm not blaming. He deserves some of the blame. He deserves some of it. Like, call a timeout.
I blame the play calling and the head coaching.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. They're to blame as well. Go on. It's 2 years ago.
There's a reason that one of them got fired and the other one is now one of the best quarterbacks, best young quarterbacks in the league. But anyway, I'll give this one to the Lions. It's in Detroit, Thanksgiving. I mean, the Bears have played well in those Thanksgiving games outside of the last maybe, but the Lions are. I think the Lions are. The biggest thing that's kept them back the last couple of years has been injuries. This is still early enough where probably they're not going to. That training staff won't have completely destroyed their defense for the third straight year. So I'll give this one to the Lions as well.
The Week 13 game, as we rock and roll through this, they go back home to take on Jacksonville, who the Jaguars. You look at that. I mean, it's funny because I looked at that on the schedule. I'm like, oh, they play Jacksonville, but Jacksonville's good. I still give the Bears the win here at home. A lot of coin flip games for me on the Bears schedule, which is a good thing because it's a difficult schedule. But I give the Bears a victory against the Jaguars first game in December. Your thoughts?
I do too. I think this is going to be one of those interesting because the whole narrative is going to be two of the best young coaches in the game with Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson. Two of the quarterbacks who were kind of hyped up as generational guys with Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams. And finally, last year, we started to see it out of Trevor Lawrence. Their defense is solid. It'll be a really tough game. I think it's going to be a really good game, but I like the Bears. I think Ben Johnson will have had some words at this point because they'll have lost, 3 of 4, and they'll have a little bit more time again because it's a Thanksgiving game. They have a couple of more days to prepare. I like the Bears in this one as well.
Week 14, we're going to zip through it. Bobby, you good with a W?
Yes. Dolphins, yes.
A nice little trip down to the in South Florida. I think one of the toughest games on their schedule comes up next. They take a trip to Buffalo, and the Lions have to open that place up. I have Josh Allen and the Bills beating the Bears on December 19th. Your thoughts on Week 15?
So if this was at home, I would give this one to the Bears. I think it is a toss-up kind of game. The Bills, I mean, they're still a really good team, but I feel like they're almost on the outside of their playoff window. I mean, you feel like their Super Bowl probably should have come in the 13 seconds year when they blew that game to the Chiefs. Heck, last year, you feel like they've missed. They're getting to that point where it's like, when's this window going to start closing? So I don't think there is like a clear cut they're going to roll, but I think it's a coin toss, and it's at home or it's at Buffalo, so I'll give it to Buffalo. I think it'll probably come down to DJ Moore will probably catch the game-winning touchdown, and then all Bears fans are going, "Oh, why did we trade him? Why did we get rid of him? Blah 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 blah." And it's so that's going to be the narrative around Chicago for a week. So that's my guess on that one.
I have the Bears, I believe, at 8-6 at this point. I'm going to do some math for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have it 9-5. Is that right? Yep. Okay. Yeah. 3 more games to go. That closing stretch is the same. Like I complained about the Lions having, 3 of the last 4 against the division. Lions 3 are all on the road. The Bears come home for 2 of those 3. They start with the Bears on Christmas. First off, Bobby, Christmas Bears football against the Packers at noon, I think is what it was. Yes. Are you in?
No, I hate it. I don't like Christmas NFL games. Give them the NBA. Let the NBA have it. I'm going to say I'm not a fan of the NFL on Christmas, especially since it's all on Netflix, and it's just annoying. I want to spend Christmas with my family. I want to spend Christmas just like hanging around. I don't want to have to be stressed, especially like, okay, fine, the Chiefs play, whatever, but I don't want to have to be stressed on Christmas, especially with Bears-Packers game. Like, what the heck, NFL? Like, thank you for ruining my Christmas, because now I'm going to be sitting there at noon, stressed out, all afternoon. This is awful. I hate it.
Yes, I'm 100%. People don't get what fans go through. Like, I either am going to have the greatest Thanksgiving in the world, or I'm going to yell at my kids for the rest of the afternoon. Say Christmas, the Lions don't play. I'm happy with, but it's the same thing. It's they have played. I remember going to Christmas Eve one year and like finding out that Mass. I was on the way to Christmas Eve Mass the year the Lions clinched their first division in a million years. I don't want to deal. Give me Christmas by myself and then give me stressful. Or how about it be like, for your case, how about Bears and Dolphins play on Thanksgiving or Christmas? Like a game at least, like you're not the game at home against the Bears and the Packers. I completely agree with it. Let's talk about the game itself. I have the Bears winning this one. I had them losing the other one. No, I don't. I have the Bears winning. The Packers winning this. I have the Packers sweeping the Bears this year, which is mean to say, but go ahead. Your thoughts.
I believe in Christmas and the spirit of Christmas, and there's no way that Christmas will the Christmas people will ruin my Christmas. So the Bears have to win this game.
Who are the Christmas people?
The people in charge of Christmas.
Okay, go ahead.
There's no way that they'll ruin my Christmas, because Christmas is too. No, this has to be a Bears win, and if they're really nice, they'll make it an easy Bears win, so I don't have to be pulling my hair out and going grayer at 4:00 in the afternoon. I hate this. I hate this so much. This is awful.
I will tell you, I'm going to pick the Bears. I am going to pick the Bears. I thought when I originally did this, I had them getting swept by the Packers, but I did pick the Bears. Reason why is because Week 17, the Lions come to Soldier Field, and it's so fun. The narrative is like, oh, the Lions late season, they can't play in the cold. Well, they wouldn't beat the Packers Week 18 a few years ago. They beat y'all last year, Week 18, and don't tell me the Bears didn't care, because they did. They played everybody. They just weren't very good, including your quarterback. And then same thing with the year before that. The Bears went into Soldier Field, or the Lions went into Soldier Field and beat the brakes off them. That was the stumble bumble game and everything. So I hate that narrative. My head says, Bobby, pick the Bears. They're probably going to win the game. I want everybody to know that. My head says that. But if you think for one damn second I'm going to sit on my show and pick the Bears to beat my beloved Silver and Honolulu Blue Warriors, you're crazy. Give me the Lions to sweep the Bears. That's what we do. I have a feeling you'll be different.
Yeah, Ben Johnson's not starting his career 0-4 against Dan Campbell. Not happening.
Please refer to him as Daddy Campbell.
Absolutely not.
So,
yeah, I'll give this one to the Bears. Again, I think a lot of it just comes down to the home and aways. As I've said, how many of the Lions players are going to be torn their ACLs and be sitting out for the season because they can't get the training staff to keep their guys healthy?
You low down.
I'm just saying, so when Jahmyr Gibbs has been out for the last 4 weeks because he broke his knee because his training staff can't do their jobs.
First and foremost, the training staff, the head of it, is a Muscatine grad and a really good dude. So we got to be nice. And I'm not.
Hey, well, I'm not blaming them, but maybe the rest of his staff needs to get.
If you want to say the unluck of whatever it is, but I don't think there's anything like tangibly there. I do think they're easing up this year when it comes to they're not practicing with another team. I think they're going to chill out a little bit when it comes to every practice is the Super Bowl kind of thing that Dan does, because there probably is a little more wear and tear. But Ben's the same way. Ben's batshit crazy too. So hopefully what you're saying, Bobby, is hopefully that the unluck the Lions have had the last 2 seasons doesn't come to fruition, because they got a week 6 bye again. They play 12 straight games. There's no it's great. And their schedule, we don't get into the Lions, but they go to Germany, come home and play the Bucks the very next week, and then they have a shortened weekend to the Bears. It's a brutal where you'd think they'd toss a bye week into the travel and the short weeks and all that kind of stuff, and they didn't do that. So going into the last game, Bobby.
I was shocked the Bears didn't have an international game. That was the one thing I was surprised about, considering, all the talk about moving the needle, is that they didn't put them in Berlin or Australia or London or Madrid or Timbuktu. So
you have the Bears 11-5 right now, going into the last game, and it's let me put it back up so we know it's on the road at Minnesota. Is that right? Yeah, it's on the road at Minnesota. Do they finish things out 12-5? Are you going to be that homer that comes on to my show with one of the toughest schedules in all of football and pick your team to go 12-5?
I mean, how tough is the schedule really when you've got Dolphins and Jets and on it? Come on, really.
It's true. When you have the NFC South on any schedule, it can't be that difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody says, on paper it's the toughest schedule. I'm like, okay, you've got the AFC East and the NFC South on it. It can't be that bad. But this game always just comes down to, in my opinion, where the Bears are in the playoffs. I mean, I don't think you're going to have a situation like last year where Ben's going to be like, play everybody, for a meaningless game. And that was kind of a meaningless game, and it kind of wasn't. It was the weird thing with the Eagles and the seeding, and then the Eagles lost. So I know I'm not saying that the Bears losing to the Lions last year was meaningless, because it wasn't. The Bears did play everybody, so you're right. But I think just if the Bears have clinched the division at this point, do they rest people? If the Bears are looking for a 1 seed, or do they play these people? So I think that's what it comes down to. I think if the Bears play everybody, I think they beat the Vikings. But if they're in a situation where they got nothing to play for, then I wouldn't. I mean, I could say this being just a loss, so put them at 11-6, 12-5, right somewhere on there.
So win or lose, what is it? Forget. Let's say it matters. Don't do the whole. If it matters, you got them winning.
Well, then they win. Yeah, if it matters, then they win.
So Bobby's got them 12-5.
I don't think the Vikings are going to be in contention, so the Vikings won't play anybody.
Yeah, but they kept playing people last year when they weren't in contention and got to 9-8 on the season. Which is crazy.
JJ McCarthy will be starting at this point, because Kyler will be hurt for the ninth straight season.
12-5 for Bobby. I got them at 9-8, and after that's all added up and stuff, I think they're going to be 10-7, 9-8. I really do. I don't think 9-8. I think probably closer to 10-7, and that's not bad. That's probably right in the range. It used to be you get to 10 wins and you get in the postseason. That's not the case anymore, because sometimes things are stupid or whatever. But well, there it is, Bobby Metcalf. Do you have him winning the division? I don't want you to go through all the other schedules, but is 12-5 good enough to win the division? It should be, right?
Should be, but I still think outside of the Vikings, I think all the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears are all really, really good teams. And I haven't studied the other schedules, but I think this is a division where one game could cost you. So I mean, if the Lions do sweep the Bears, could that be the difference? If the Packers sweep the Bears, could that be the difference? If the Bears sweep, all 6, that could be a difference. I don't. As a homer, yes, I'll say they win the division. Of course, they win the division. They're defending NFC North champs, but that's a really tough division at this point. So right. I think any of those 3 teams are the hardest for it.
We'll do the Lions schedule on Monday. I'll call you then. You're like, no,
I can't wait.
Yeah, right. All right, buddy. Hey, I appreciate it. Bobby, be well. Get home one of these days soon. Okay, bud?
I'm trying.
I love it. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, man.
All right. Yep.
All right. That is Bobby Metcalf, the former Quad City sports writer here in the area, now doing great stuff in Columbus, Ohio as well. We got more to get to. We'll wrap up OTA right after this. All right. Be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings. The biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese? Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Friday, May 15th. Hopefully everybody has a great week, has had a great week, and they're ready for the weekend as well. We, too, are ready for the weekend. It's been a fun week here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I do want to mention one thing. As we go through our commercials, I like to remind people of things from sponsors and those kind of stuff, and that kind of stuff. And Hungry Hobo right now is having a great deal. It's graduation season. Obviously, there's parties coming up for graduates and all those kind of things. If you buy $25 or get $25 gift card at Hobo, you get $5 for free. So, and that's unlimited. So if you get a $100 gift card, you get $40 for free. So make sure you take advantage of a really good deal at Hungry Hobo right now. Really good food too. So I'm hungry. If you couldn't tell, it's nearly lunchtime. So take advantage of the Hungry Hobo deals when you can. It's been a fun show. We've had a lot going on with the Iowa women's basketball the last couple of days, and also the Iowa baseball team. Kyle Huesmann joining us from Des Moines got us through all of that. So if you missed Kyle Huesmann, make sure you head back and check out his insight, his information that he had for us this morning as well. We went through the Bears schedule. Let me know what you think in the chat, social media, wherever you want. I have the Bears. After I added it up, it was 9-8 for me. Maybe 10-7. Maybe I was hard on them here or there, but I do agree with Bobby. It's not as hard as a schedule as everybody thinks. When you're playing the NFC South, unless they're really markedly improved, you should have an okay time. And then the AFC East, Patriots, Bills, but you still have the Jets and the Dolphins aren't going to be good. So half of that division isn't very good. So I don't think it's an extremely hard schedule for the Bears. I like the schedule for the Lions. Don't love the end of it. But Football season is going to be here before you know it, and the arguments and the debates will continue up until the start of the season and throughout the season as well. Bobby had his beloved Bears. He's not biased at all. 12-5. I mean, they go from a last place schedule where they won 11 games last year with a last place schedule and got lucky a bunch. I mean, my fault. Got fortunate a bunch. And now they're going to improve a game with a much tougher schedule and all of, I mean, just I love Bears fans. They're my favorite. And Bears fans don't like me. That's okay. It'll be a fun season. And as long as everybody's having fun with it, it should be a lot of fun. Bears wise, Packers wise, Vikings wise, Lions wise. The NFC North will be extremely interesting to say the least. So if you missed some of the shows this week, just a quick reminder, Zach Johnson was on Tuesday. Yesterday's show had Brad Underwood and Tate Sage in the same show. So Tuesday's show, Thursday's show, make sure you go check those out. Monday and Wednesday was awesome as well. It's been a really fun week and a really good week here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We appreciate you guys watching, however you're watching. The audio podcast numbers are really fun, really good. YouTube, X, however you're watching the show, we greatly appreciate it. And to our sponsors, we appreciate that as well. Excited to line up maybe a few more sponsors over the next couple weeks as well. So coming up on Monday's show, we will have Wrigley Mathis from Bettendorf, latest commitment to the University of Iowa baseball program. Also going to try to track down Bria Medina. I'm hoping to get that lined up for early next week as well. No show next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is John Deere Classic Media Day. I will be there. Then I'll be golfing. So no show Tuesday. And then we'll do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll get into Memorial Day weekend and have some fun with the extended weekend as well. So once again, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching not just today's show, but the shows throughout the entire week here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We greatly appreciate it. We will see you guys back here on Monday. Have a great weekend.